Hi, my name is Eric Ryden, certified sommelier and owner of Le Grand Triage on the Upper East Side. Today we're going to talk about the proper way to open sparkling wine. So first and foremost, we need to remove the foil. You can do it in one of two ways. Typically at a restaurant, when things are a little fancier, they might actually take the blade of their wine opener. There's actually a little perforated edge that you might start to slice on that perforated edge. If we're at a fancy restaurant too, we're gonna wanna make sure that our label faces our guest. However, it doesn't always have to be so fancy. There's also a little tab on most bottles of sparkling wine as well. So if it has a tab, you can of course just remove the foil, as simple as that. So the next piece of this thing right here, we call it the cage, right? And the cage is what helps keep all the pressure inside. What we're supposed to do, again, label facing our guest best we can, we put our thumb on the top of the cage and then we're actually gonna start to unwind it. Every single bottle of sparkling wine, it takes exactly 6.5 revolutions to unwind it. Don't believe me? Let's count along. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6.5. Right, so that's our 6.5, right? Still got my thumb on the top of the cork. Want to make sure it doesn't actually come out. And then the way that we're actually going to do this next part is instead of, I'm never going to remove my thumb, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my other hand, in this case my dominant hand, and I'm actually just going to hold the cork as steady as I can. My thumb here, my index finger on it, and then I'm just going to ever so slightly twist with my right hand at the bottom, right? And this twisting method, I'm going to slowly, you can even see it here, it's starting to get a little bit of a distance here, but I'm going to slowly start to wiggle it. Slowly, but surely. And then you can even see there's a little bit more that has come out, and I'm gonna try to just get it little by little by little. Now the objective here is to make sure that it doesn't actually make a huge booming pop, right? Because that pop, what it is actually a release of CO2. And now if you just won the World Series or something and you wanna do a big celebration, the pop is great. But under most circumstances, pop is the release of CO2, and if you release more CO2, then you have less CO2 in your bottle, right? So we actually want to minimize that sound. So the softer the sound, the more bubbles, the more CO2 that we're able to keep in the actual wine. So we want it to be really soft, right? So again, here's my thumb. I'm still kind of slowly kind of teasing this out, and I'm going to try to get a really soft noise if I can, right? Almost like a whisper. Or a very long fart. Very long. And a little wet. All right, so that is how you open a bottle of bubbly. Next up, for pouring the champagne, we want to make sure we have a steady stream, right? What do I mean by steady stream? So steady stream would be a clear, consistent, one kind of pouring of the juice. So there we go, there's the juice pouring consistently. This would not be a steady stream, right? Kind of watching it kind of go in and out, right? We actually want to make sure it is uniform, right? That's your steady stream, right? And that is how you open and pour a proper bottle of bubbly. So what we use today as our example is from an area called Bougie Cerdon, right? Of course, it is hilarious to call it bougie wine, which is actually what you call it. They've heard all the jokes before, but they don't get it in France because they're all bougie anyway. But anyway, Bougie Cerdon. This is a rosé. It's made in what we call the Méthode Ancestrale, a little bit of an older technique and a little bit different than what we usually do for champagne. But super, super tasty nonetheless. The atmospheric pressure is a little bit less, so the bubbles are not as kind of vigorous and explosive as champagne or cava. This particular one is made from 100% Gamay Noir, same grape as Beaujolais, and this one has a bit of a sweetness to it as well, which on a hot summer's day is actually really, really refreshing. That sweetness almost comes off like some sort of dessert tart, blackberry tart, raspberry tart. It's almost like this candied fruit element. The bubbles are really soft, maybe even just like a kiss of bubble gum. Yum! If you're a fan of something a little bit on the sweeter side, this is a beautiful, beautiful wine. A lot of the sparkling wines from Bougie similarly have that just touch of sweetness. I find that they're a really great brunch alternative as well because that sweetness helps open up the palate. Anyway, grab a bottle if you're interested, and then don't forget to join us on Wednesday. Sarah's got a really fun bottle of whiskey from Down Under in Australia. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about Pinot Grigio and why everyone hates it. Sorry, it's kind of true, TBH. Don't forget to stay safe and stay home.